Hi, welcome to BariNation, where we support the bariatric community with humor, humility, and honesty.
You've just tuned into a podcast that welcomes you into a community, a resource center, and a safe place that powers your journey towards personal wellness.
Our goal is you leave us today feeling hopeful, inspired, and ready to live your best bariatric life.
Hi, friends. Welcome to the BariNation Podcast. Today, I am joined by one of our friends, experts, and member of the BariNation community, Monique Coleman.
Hi.
I am so thankful and excited to have this conversation with you. We recently announced to the world that we are now the BariNation Foundation, a 501c3, federally recognized nonprofit. And let me tell you, I think it was more challenging than moving through the insurance qualifications to have surgery. But we're here.
Wow.
We're here. Well, yeah, we're here. A lot of learning. When we became a foundation, we really took a step back and we looked at our mission and were able to crystallize a vision. So the mission of BariNation is to bring together knowledge and education and hope in a space that anybody can tap into when they need it. But to make that mission, to live that mission, we have to also focus on our vision, which is to eliminate barriers that people will encounter along their health journey.
Yeah.
And as an expert in our community, right, you knew that we were working on the foundation behind the scenes. But when we shared our vision, you instantly reached out and said, hey, one of the barriers to ongoing care is race.
Yep. 100%.
Mic, 100%, mic drop moment. And you had a realization, right? We were in the BariNation community. We were announcing this thing. And you looked out at the sea of faces and you didn't see a lot that looked like you.
No. Very sad. I was like scrolling, like, let me scroll, let me look. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, very, very sad.
Yep. And representation matters. And you and I had this conversation before we hit record on this episode.
Yep.
It can be intimidating to join a space, to join a community where you don't see a lot of people who look like you. And you think, whether it's true or not, that resource is not for you.
Right.
And you've been a member of BariNation for a very long time, and you've talked about the things that you've learned have positively impacted your journey. You leaned into community, even though you didn't see a lot of people who look like you. And I see the fire in you now to make sure that people know this resource is for you. It's for everybody.
Yes.
Right.
100%. 100%. You, like I was saying, you don't know what you don't know. And this is why I'm so passionate about advocating for our voices, especially in the Black and Brown community, because if we don't talk about it, how are others going to know that this is for us? Right? I shared that when I was starting my bariatric journey, nobody looked like me that was telling a good story. It was always, well, my mom had it and then she gained the weight back. And, my sister's my cousin's uncle had it. And, and it was always like the bad side of bariatrics, but nobody is talking about the powerful impact that it can make on your life. And for a lot of us, especially in the African American, Black and Brown community, diabetes is something that runs rampant, right? And we're always hearing about that. And that was the main driver for me to have surgery because, listen, I was over 300 pounds, but I was working out, I was eating right. I led fitness classes. I ran marathons, right? All the things, but I could never get my weight down. And finally, when they said, hey, Monique, if you don't do something, you're going to have to be on diabetes medicine for the rest of your life. My grandmother had both of her legs amputated because of diabetes. And I was like, it ends here. It ends today.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. I knew a little bit of your story. I didn't know that your grandma had such a horrific health experience. And when you know that bariatric surgery can address so many of the issues that you just talked about, right? One surgery really can address diabetes. It can address hypertension. It can address all of the things that could be going wrong, right? And I say this in quotes in our life, yet there is a barrier to care there.
Yeah.
There's
100%.
something that's standing in the way.
100% because I went to doctor to doctor to doctor, and what they told me was like, eat less, move more. And I was like, dude, if I move anymore, like I will only be moving, you know?
Right?
But then looking at my family dynamic, everyone was overweight, right? Everyone was like, this is just what we do. This is just who we are. Like, and you have to be okay with that. And again, that's why I'm so passionate about telling these stories and even about living in my true, authentic self, because I really don't believe if I wouldn't have, my daughter would not be teaching fitness. You know,
Mm.
if I wouldn't have said yes to taking control of my health, despite what some of the doctors said, despite what, community, because fun fact, and I shared this openly, when I told my family I wanted to have bariatric surgery, they were like, no, you don't need to do that. Your face is so pretty. They're like, "Your face is so pretty, Monique. Why would you wanna do that? Oh, you're gonna" and I really had never had surgery except for childbirth. So I had no idea really of what I was getting myself into. But what I did know is that my sister-in-law, right, who is not African American, she said, "Monique, listen, at the end of the day, we're doing this not really for us, but we're doing this for our kids. Because if we die tomorrow because of our weight, imagine what that would say to our kids." And that left
Yeah.
something with me. Like, you're right.
And there is no arguing with that. There is not a parent on this planet that is not going to move heaven and hell to make something happen for your kids. And when your health starts impacting your ability to be there for them,
Mhm.
I see a lot of people make that decision of like, nope, I have to do this because what you just said, most people who are fighting the disease of obesity are doing everything right. They are moving more. They are eating a whole food, healthy diet. They are doing all of those things. And when you get that response from somebody who you're asking for help with, it's just defeating. And I feel like you just shrink more and more into yourself
Yeah.
because I've heard that advice. I've taken that advice. I live that advice.
Mhm.
And you're telling me to do more of what I'm already doing. That's not help.
Yep. Not at all. And I mean,
Not
and
at
then
all.
part of it is like, I have the fear, right? I have the fear of what this is gonna look like if I, have bariatric surgery. Because I remember somebody telling me, like, if you have bariatric surgery, you can never have butter. And I was like, butter? I
Mm,
love butter. I love butter. So what are you talking about? Right? And all the things that like I couldn't have. It was so many no, no, no.
yeah.
And for a lot of the Black and brown community, we show love through food. I always share that, like, one of the things my mother and her sisters, like, fond memories, they would work out. And after they were done with their Richard Simmons workout, right, spandex pants and all, they would
Hmm.
go and they would make like a 5-course meal. Like, make it make sense, right? But that was their way of celebrating, "Hey, we did something." Like, we did something great. All of my, like, childhood pictures are me with, like, pig's feet, just all kind of crazy stuff, but, like, that was, what back in the day, like, we didn't have a lot, but what we did have was a good meal.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And it's like, whether it be healthy, unhealthy, I'm going to show you that I love you by feeding you. Every time I would go to my grandmother's house, she'd always have like food everywhere. And that was the way that she showed, hey, I'm excited to see you.
Well, not only is that cultural, but that's your family. So
Hmm.
I'm hearing you describe a lot of layers
Yep.
to this equation. So when you're talking about race as a barrier, it's more than the color of your skin. It is your heritage, it is
Yeah.
your culture, it is your tradition, it is and you just said something so powerful. We might not have had much, but we always have food.
Food. Yep. Food. Whether it's good
So
food or bad food, but we always have some food.
you always have some food. So if you are thinking about treating obesity and the first thing that you think of up here is, oh, I'm losing the only thing that we have.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no wonder why so many people are making the decision to not opt into this type of treatment. You
Yep.
you don't want to lose the only thing that you have.
Of course. Yeah, of course not. And I hear it from so many women who go to like small groups. The one thing that they say, well, what am I going to do after I have bariatric surgery? And I'm like, live your life. I live my life. The one thing that my doctor always told me is that if you want cake, eat the cake. It's about now learning that this is a tool. Bariatric surgery is just a tool. But at the end of the day, I have got to manage how I utilize the tool. So it's not
Mhm.
eating three-fourths of the cake, right? Maybe it's eating a small portion of the cake and then putting it away for later. Or now learning, thanks to Dr. Smith, right? Eating whole foods, like making sure that you eat those whole foods. And these are things that like just weren't talked about. And you can make whole foods taste good. Today, I made a pizza out of sweet potatoes. Crazy, but it tasted good. So it's like there you can eat good food after you've had bariatric surgery or while you're on a GLP-1.
Yes, yes. And the very first point that you made, right? When we go into thinking about having bariatric surgery, only focusing on what we can't have or
Mm-hmm.
can't do,
Yep.
we are really missing the point, because the point of obesity treatment is that you get to reclaim
Yeah.
parts of your life that have been stolen from you
Yep.
by the disease. But
Yep.
if you're only focusing on the things you're losing, you are actually missing what this is all about. And it's the things that you gain or get to reclaim.
Yep. 100%. 100%. I think some people think like, oh, you know, she gonna think she brand new after she has surgery because she's gonna look so different. But a lot of people don't realize that like that's only a byproduct. Right? Like,
Yes.
being losing the weight is only like a byproduct. I think for many of us that we've learned is that once we've had surgery, we're a totally new person. And now we have the
Hmm.
privilege of learning ourselves again and who we really are, because sometimes that barrier of weight is so heavy on us that the only thing that we can function through is the weight. Because I'm heavy, I only should have this. Because I'm heavy, this is all that's for me. And then once that layer of weight is lifted, then you're like, oh, well, guess what? I do deserve good things. Good things are supposed to happen to me. So that's only like a byproduct.
To know you now is not the person I knew 2 years ago. Truly. Right? Like there are glimmers and
Yeah.
and moments, but you really are you are the same person, but you have more fully embodied who you are. I
Yeah.
have seen you step into an understanding of what you see as your mission and your purpose and what drives you. And if you would have let those barriers stand in your way, you would not be this person today.
100%. 100%. Oh my gosh. I don't think running a fitness business, right? And I think I thought that my whole thing was like, it was called Thick Chicks Fitness, right? And that was the identity that I had to carry because Thick Chicks Fitness, and this is what. So having that layer of like, can't lose too much because, can't, because just the brand identity and things like that, right?
Oh.
I always wanted it to be like, I want you to feel included. So if you look like me, come work out with me. But what I found through the journey really of healing myself is that, you know what, at the end of the day, I have to be okay with me.
Mm.
I have to be okay with the person that I see in the mirror and the mission that I'm walking out. And really, that is to help and educate other women. Like, I feel like my sole purpose. And have I been through a lot of crazy things? Yes. But I'm so thankful that honestly, number one, I had the support, right? Thank you, BariNation. Right. I had the support, my faith, also like, but I'm thankful that I allowed myself to walk through that journey because for some people, you get instantly hit with this is all that I got. This is all that I am. And I can't be anything else. I can't do anything else. And when life starts to throw rocks and tomatoes at you, you sometimes say, well, let me just fall back. But I was like, no, no, I have more to give. And I do want to show the world that at the end of the day, no matter what life has to show and give you, you can do more.
You can be more. And you can also get to a place where who you are is enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I see this balance in your story of when you first underwent bariatric surgery, right? You got to this place of, oh, I am enough. I am good enough as I am.
Yep.
And you were able to separate who you are from the disease,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That's what I hear you saying, right? A barrier to care can be not moving beyond that separation, because we
Yep.
do have to understand who we are as a person
Yep.
and the disease separately, because the disease clouds who we are.
Yeah.
And when you onboard treatment and that cloud clears a little bit, you do have to stand in who you are. You do have to take the time to go, oh, this is who I am. It's who I've always been.
Hmm.
And I need to fully step into that. But then I also can move beyond that to continue to step into this
Exactly.
journey.
Yep. Yeah. No matter who
Wow.
is you, because that's just another so many things, but that's just another thing, right? It's like, who's going to come with me? Who's going to
Yeah.
be there to understand my story? That's why I advocate so hard for Berry Nation, because I remember moving to West Virginia. Yes, I am here, West Virginia, and I love it, right? And Melanie was like, "Hey, you need support. Like now your whole support system is gone. So like where do you lean into now?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like you're my friend. Lean into me." And she was like, "But I'm not enough. You need a community behind you so that when you're having those hard times, when you don't know what to do, or when you're just having a bad day, right?
Hmm.
Because you know that you ate too much, right? You went to the cookout and child, you didn't eat too much, but you had a great time. Who do you call and talk to? You go into the Berry Nation community and you're like, oh my gosh, this and this happened. And I guarantee you, because I see it every day, right? Coming through my feed, this and this happened. And then there's a flood of people that are like, oh no, do this, do this. How about this? How about this? But then you also have experts that are there to guide you. I know Kayla, she
Hmm.
was like, I was like, Kayla, listen, I am hungry. I'm hungry all the time after I work out. Like, I don't, because here I am as a fitness instructor. And she was like, well, as a certified dietitian, let me tell you what to do. And when I tell you that was everything, like, I'd never heard anybody say, like, eat, eat after, you know, it's okay. Like, it's
Yeah.
okay to make a plate to eat. And I was like, are you
Yes.
sure? Because, like, it's 7:30, 9 o'clock. Eat. And when I tell
Yes.
you, that's exactly what I needed to hear.
It, it is amazing what we can do when we lean into a place that has that type of education, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not about me or the community telling you what you should do. It's you opting in and saying, I really need help in this specific thing in this moment.
Yep.
And that's powerful, right? Because nobody knows your journey. Nobody knows your experience. I don't know what is contributing to what you're feeling and how you're moving through it.
Yeah.
And to be able to empower you and everybody else in that moment to say, you know yourself best. And
Yeah.
I trust you, and you are going to make the best decision for you. So you go take what you need.
Yep.
Take what you need. And that's
Yeah.
also hard, right? That can be a barrier because when we've grown up with this disease, the disease and other people, sometimes our community, our culture, our heritage
Yep.
really gets in our head up here.
Oh, yeah.
And it, right? Like we're being questioned by that all the time. So we
All the
don't believe ourselves.
Oh, yeah, all the time. When I decided that I needed to start my GLP-1 journey, right? That was like a whole nother level. And when I tell you I hit it for like 6 months, and people were like, are you doing something different? And I was like, no, I'm just working out more, eating less. Now, mind you, this is after bariatric surgery, right? So I was like, I'm just eating less and I'm working out more. And then finally, I think Oprah had her special, and I was like, okay, well, if Oprah Winfrey can, stand before a million people and share her story, I was like, yes, I have been on a GLP-1. Like, and then I was like, why am I ashamed? I was never ashamed of saying that I had bariatric surgery because I lived it out very publicly. So now it was like, here I was again, boom, at the forefront. That shame, that guilt, like, had I done something wrong? Did I do, like, why am I not losing weight? Why did I gain weight back? Am I going to be like those other people said that I was, because I had 20 pounds of regain after moving to West Virginia. And I was
Mm.
like, oh, well, here we go. They must have been right. They must
Oh,
have, like
yeah. Yep.
they said it. They said, I'm going to gain the weight back. But that was
Hmm.
far from the truth. Here again, I had to get educated on what other treatments are available for me, right? And everybody else, and then lean into them and not be
Yeah.
afraid of what anybody else is going to say.
If we do not learn and embrace the fact that obesity is a disease,
Yeah.
there will continue to be barriers placed in front of us. And those barriers are shame, blame, and guilt.
Yep.
Right? Obesity is a lifelong, chronic, and progressive disease. We
Yes.
do everything right, and the disease is going to do what it is designed to do, which is continue to impact our metabolic systems.
Yep.
And if we let shame and blame stand in our way, we will end treatment at that first moment of weight reoccurrence because we
Yep.
think, oh, this is me. It's not you.
Yep.
It is not you. It is the disease. And weight reoccurrence or regain is an outward symptom that the disease is back in action again in your system.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know where to go for that information, if you are not connected with the community, if you are not breaking down those barriers yourself,
Yep.
nothing else is going to do it. And that's the push-pull here. You have to be brave enough to break through that barrier or to step around it.
Yep.
And when race is that barrier, it's just another layer to
100%.
work through.
Yep.
What are things that people can do if race is a barrier in their life and in their journey? What were the things that you did? Because you have worked through them. You are an active member of a community. You continue to pursue treatment. You are helping other people do the same. But what does that look like in real life, right? When we acknowledge race is a barrier, how do we get around it?
The first and foremost I'm going to say is that you need to advocate for yourself. But before you advocate for yourself, you got to empower yourself by learning and understanding, right? Because so many times, like, we're just like, I hurt and fix it. Well, okay, like, you can fix it. But instead of learning the root cause, I don't think I really was like, well, like, I didn't really get it until I understood that obesity is really a disease and that for the rest of my life, I will be fighting this disease of obesity. And the first person to say that to me was my doctor, who is African American. She was the very first person to tell me that. And she said, Monique, I'm going to tell you right here, right now, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. She said, but at the end of the day, your body makeup is a certain way. So you will never be a size 0. She said, what I want you to focus on is fighting the disease of obesity. That's the goal for you right here, right now.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody had ever told me that, like, this is something that I would have to fight with. She said, you lose and your body will literally fight against itself to get back to that comfortable place. She said, but it's your job to tell it now, no, this is the comfort place. This is the place. So that means eating right. That means working out. That means lowering your stress level, right? Like, all these things. And I was like, I remember sitting in her office and I was like, she said, lowering my stress level. What? But that has a whole bunch to, like, do with it, right? Like, if you're constantly stressed out, what are you going to do? You're going to eat. Like, so yes, you got to mitigate stress. You got to go to sleep, got to drink the water. All these things go into it.
Did it make an impact on your decision and on your thought process that you were having this conversation with someone who looks like you? Was that a part of it?
Yes and no. I want to say yes, because I feel like for the first time, she heard me and she got me. Like, I think sometimes when you go into a doctor's office, and no matter what color you are, right? When you go into a doctor's office and you're overweight, sometimes there's always going to be that bias. Like, they're coming to me because they want to be skinny, you know? Instead of being like, I'm coming to you because I know something's not right.
Yeah.
I'm coming to you because I know that, like, I should do something different. So help me with the tools. What tools do you have? So
Yeah.
I just felt like that conversation was different. And honestly, I'd never had a doctor that, like, sat me down and talked so plainly. And fun fact, before we decided the GLP-1 journey, I had to wait like a year. Like, she was like, I'm not just going to throw you on it. Yeah,
Oh,
she's like, I
got to get to know you,
yeah,
how the disease presents in your life. We need to
yep,
make sure that this is the right. So really, she not only offered maybe not empathy, but a shame-free experience. She acknowledged you as a person. She acknowledged the disease, but she also made a commitment to you to
Yeah.
understand you as an individual. I want to get to know you and the disease because they're two separate things. And I need to understand how they're working together before we move forward with a plan, which is exactly what we want to do in this day and age. We want individualized care.
Yes. So when I decided to get on the GLP-1 it was like everybody GLP-1, GLP-1, right? And yeah,
Yeah.
you could get it. It was like $500. It was some crazy,
Mhm.
unless your, doctor said that you could get on it or whatever. And I went to her because I heard that like she was doing consultations for GLP-1. That's why I
Mm.
went to her. So I was like, hey,
Yes.
I heard this. Is it true? And she said, yes, but first you got to be my patient. I meet with my patients every month leading up to you getting on the GLP-1. You got to meet
Wow.
with, yeah, you got to meet with a therapist. It was almost like taking the journey all over again. And at first I was like, oh, this is too much. I don't want to do this. Like, no. But I'm so thankful that I did because even going through that part of like, there were things that I'll be honest, I wasn't doing. Was I drinking the water? No. Okay.
No.
Wait, was I getting all the protein? No. You know? So I was like, okay, thankful.
We and this is something that I'm working on personally. We don't have to be doing everything right to be doing everything right. I'm
100%.
not I'm not getting my water in. I'm not hitting my protein goals every day. I'm not moving my body every day. And let me tell you, when my labs came back and my doctor said, "You are as healthy as you have ever been. Great job. Keep doing what you're doing."
Hmm.
And I instantly was like, "Oh, he doesn't know that you are complete and total disaster, that you are not doing all of these things." Right? But it was almost like he heard my internal conversation out loud.
Mhm.
And he said, I think you're having a hard time believing this.
Yeah.
Why? What is going on?" And that really opened up the floodgates for me to say, well, I'm not hydrated, or I'm not taking my vitamins every day. And I remember telling him, how can I be healthy when I'm not doing everything right? And what he said is, you are doing everything right for your body and you are battling the disease in a way that is working right now.
Hmm. Yep.
That was the key word. He's like, it's going to change.
Yeah.
You and I know that this is going to change,
Yep.
but you are doing everything right now. And I need you to hear and understand that. And I hear that message echoed in your experience with your doctor.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's like why I sometimes hate social media, right? Because
Mm,
you'll see one person that'll be like, well, I had bariatric surgery and then 2 months later I lost 100 pounds. And then you'll be sitting there thinking like, well, I had bariatric surgery a year ago and Lord, I've only lost 50 pounds. I hear that all the time. Only, only lost 50
yeah.
pounds.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like, this is such an individualized journey because, like you
Yes.
said, one day you're here, next day you're here, and maybe you're here. You know,
Yeah.
it
Right?
it's visual.
It,
Yeah.
it's individualized. And I do want to call out something that I think is important. You and I know we've heard the same thing from a lot of doctors for our entire lives, right?
Oh
Eat
yeah.
less, move more, right? We have heard this. But when we hear something different from somebody who we find or can see some type of similarity with, it's
Hmm.
almost like it unlocks our ability to actually internalize it.
Yes.
Right. And I think that sometimes when we're having these conversations with people who we find this kinship with, whether they look like us, they sound like us, there's some kind of similarity there, our soul just opens up a little bit to allow that hope in.
Hmm.
And I think that's where race sometimes can be a barrier, because if you're not talking with somebody who you're finding that connection with, and it happens to be what they look like, it's okay to seek out and find that person, because that person could be the one that's going to say the thing that finally unlocks inside of you to move forward with that care. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that that is sometimes what we need
Yeah.
to fight this disease.
100%. 100%. I don't. When I was like doing my research right before, I remember laying in bed and I was scrolling through, and I was like, oh my gosh, like who looks like me? And I saw Riza, right, from Bariatric Society, and she talked about what a great, thing it was. And I was like, wow, for the first time, somebody that looks like me said, yes, this was great. This is
Yeah.
the byproduct of me having surgery. Like she was like walking and running and doing blah, blah, blah. And so then I was like, you know what, Monique, I vowed to myself that, you know what, once I have surgery, I'm going to document the journey, number one, because I know there's going to be somebody out there that's going to look like me that number one is not going to know because now, right, here we are. It's been a few years since I had bariatric surgery. Right now, they're just giving it away. Like, I don't know if you remember, like before it was like, you got to do all of this. Like, you got to,
Oh, yeah.
you want surgery here. I got you. So like, nobody really tells you you're going to have to be on bariatric vitamins for the rest of your life, right? Nobody really explains to you the why behind it. Nobody explains that like protein is so important. And I'm not talking about protein shakes, but it's okay. But like nobody was there for me really like that when I had the deep questions. And that's what I vowed that I would always document. So I'm going to document the good, the bad, and the ugly because there is an ugly side of
Yeah.
this, right? Like once you've had bariatric surgery, and this is just my journey, my story, right? As an African American woman, I go to the doctor now, and the first thing that they say after they look at my chart, oh, you have bariatric surgery? Oh, it must be because of bariatric surgery. And I'm like, no, it's my pinky toe that hurts. I don't understand like why you're bringing that up. Like, why are you bringing that up? I don't understand.
Jumping to conclusions there,
Right,
but okay,
right.
moving on.
It's like,
Mhm.
right, so I document all of that. Like one hurdle, because it's for a lot of, Black women, our hair, right? So I talk very openly, very candidly about that
Yeah.
journey and me losing my hair. And, you know, while I wish that wasn't something, and it doesn't happen to everybody, but that's such a journey because for a lot of Black women, our hair is the thing, right? It's the thing that like we find beauty behind it. But it's so like, I'm not gonna say funny, but here recently I've been put in a space where there are a lot of alopecia women. They've never had
Oh.
bariatric surgery, right? And they just have alopecia and they're bald and they're beautiful and they're bold. And I went on Fox 5 News, and the person before us was the alopecia queens of the DMV. And I was like, okay, so what you trying to tell me now? It's like, okay, okay. Wow.
Is this is the universe telling me this is in my future? Because
Right,
yeah.
right. Like, like I don't understand like what, but okay, and being okay with like having, not having hair. You know what I mean? Like I'm have to be okay with the journey wherever it takes me, whether it means my hair is thinning, right? And knowing the things that I have to do now for my hair. And fun fact, I'll go to my doctor and I'll be like, okay, so listen, what are we going to do about this hair situation? And the first thing that she says, so tell me about your protein, tell me
Mm.
about your water, you know,
Mhm.
t- tell me, are you
Mhm.
stressing? Tell me, all these different things instead of being like, I'm gonna give you Rogaine. Go get a wig. It's never, she actually told me like, stop wearing wigs. I hope she's not watching this because she's gonna be like, what does she have? I told that girl like not to not to have protective styles for a while. Like, but it's just like these are the things. And this is like just another thing that when you're in the Black and brown community that like we need to talk about. My fear is that as my child and as other children, as they grow up, they're not going to know the stories, right? The things that we've had to go through in order for them to allow to get here, to have good care for them. So that's why I'm always advocating for standing up, speak your voice, speak your mind. When you go into the doctor's office, never go without a list. Go with a list of things, right? Write them down so that when you get there, you're not railroaded by the quickness of the doctors, right? No,
Mhm.
you're going to listen to all of my issues that I'm bringing to you today because I, as a patient who's paying you, I deserve that.
Yes. Yes. And it can be intimidating. Just like what you said, you get into that situation and you know they only got 15 minutes or 10 minutes with you. And if you are not prepared and ready to have a rapid fire conversation, you're not going to accomplish the goals that you've set out to achieve that day with that person.
Yep.
And I know that this is going to sound really naive of me, but as you were talking about you, and this is your mission, we have to talk about these things. We have to talk about these things. And I understand it in such a different way now because yeah, I would have never talked about that in a shared space, and I don't know that that's an issue. But if we are not having these conversations in a public forum,
Mhm.
if we are not amplifying this story, people who are struggling with the same thing that you are struggling with, specifically because you are an African American woman, are going to think that it is not possible
Yep.
to have a joyful life
Yes.
and be
Yep.
struggling and worried a little bit about your hair. Right?
100%.
Have a joyful life and be worried about a meal that you're going to share with your family.
Yep.
If we're not having
100%.
these public conversations, they're happening in pockets.
Mhm.
Well, pockets are siloed. And what I hear you saying is that we need to bring those conversations out of the silo into the public
Oh, yes.
and provide an accessible way for you to get this information when it's right for you. It's how we work around a barrier that could be there because of our culture, of our history, of our traditions.
Yep.
I hear you saying, yes, those are our things.
Yeah.
And the disease is going to continue to erode these if you don't give up a
Mhm.
little bit of this. You are going to have to give up some of these things, but what you get is actually your life back. What you get is
Yeah.
what is most real and whole for you at the center of your personhood.
Yep. 100%. 100%. I will preach it too. I don't care. My daughter said, "Do you have to tell them that you had bariatric?" Yes, I do. I have to tell them that I had bariatric surgery. I guess. And she's like, "Oh, okay, fine." But I'm like, I tell people because a lot of times people will come up to me and they'll be like, "Thank you so much for sharing that
Yeah.
you had bariatric surgery." And I'm like,
Yes.
"Why are
And
you whispering?" Like,
I know why. I know why.
right. Like, but why are you whispering? I have been with people to the hospital. My bariatric surgeon, Dr. Peischer, who's in Virginia, she did my surgery. And when I tell you this woman, I love her so much. She's friends with Dr. Green, who I know we love right here in BariNation. And she would call me on the phone and say, "Hey, somebody is getting ready to go through bariatric surgery, but they're scared. Will you come with them if it's okay to the hospital? Because they don't want to tell their family. They're ashamed of telling their family." And I've been with 3 people who have had bariatric surgery because they are afraid or ashamed or I don't know, but like going with them during the surgery, like holding their hand before they go into pre-op, praying with them when they come out of pre-op, and then holding their hands kind of after, surgery has just been like, it's just been an eye opener that like, wow, there are still people out there who are afraid to talk about it.
There are millions of people who are afraid to talk about, right? The disease of obesity does not have the same resonance as cancer,
Yeah.
as hypertension, as diabetes, right? Obesity is still seen in society and internally within us
Hmm.
as something 100% in our control.
Yep.
And we as humans don't like to ask for help when we feel that we're the ones that have caused it. That is not something that we are comfortable with doing.
Oh, yeah.
But we are telling you, we are having this conversation that it is not your fault, right?
Yes.
The disease is wreaking havoc in your life and it has nothing to do with the decisions that you have made. Obesity is not your fault, but
100%.
it is your fight, as Dr. Sharif said on a recent podcast episode. And it's okay if you don't have that fight part in you yet. That's okay. Because there are people like Monique who have publicly said, I'm willing to fight. I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to share, to talk, to speak, because I know not everybody can do this yet.
Yep.
And the world needs you because that's how change happens. you are there to walk alongside of them. And it's the mission of BariNation. We want to walk alongside people who are fighting this disease because we know not everybody can fight it alone. It can't be fought alone.
Yep.
And until we make that mindset shift of this is a me problem to, oh, this is a disease and I need a community to support me as I fight, you're going to be in that, in that push-pull.
That limbo for a lot of African American women, I think Black and brown women, we feel like we've got to be the strong one, right?
Mm.
We feel like we've got to hold it all together because that's just what our moms did. That's what we've seen. And I'm not saying that that's not the case, but I think for me, it wasn't until I said, you know what? I need to do something. I need to do something. And it's okay to say that you don't know everything. I don't know everything. I am not the savior for weight loss. I promise you that. Right? That is not my mission, right? But my mission is that I'm going to be very vocal with my journey, whatever way it takes, right? Whatever, again, if it's good, bad, or indifferent, it saddens me when I see so many that they know they have to do something, they want to do something, but they're scared. Or the flip side, they have bariatric surgery again because they're giving it away like water, right? We're giving bariatric surgeries away now like crazy. And then they get on the other side and they don't know what to do. And then
Yeah.
they're like, what do you mean I can't blend turkey in the in the blender? I can't blend a steak and be like, literally, people have said this to me. Like, I know I had bariatric surgery, but I'm going to put my steak in the blender and it's going to be okay because I'm still going to be getting my. No, no, nope, nope, nope,
No.
nope,
Nope.
nope. Great idea, but no.
Uh-uh.
So it's like, it really saddens me. And I really hope and pray that through this conversation, right, through the great work that you and BariNation are doing, it's changed my life, right? On so many fronts. I'm not going to cry, I promise, but it's changed my life because I know that through this bariatric journey is so many things. And through the bariatric journey, I went into menopause, right? I went all the different things that at the end of the day, I'm still a bariatric patient, right? So
Yeah.
along my whole journey of life, that one thing is still going to be there. So I need to go to others that have walked the journey before me, whether their journey has been good, bad, or indifferent, and listen to them and hear from them, right? Understand from them. What did you do maybe that wasn't right that then maybe I should not do? So that's why I'm so thankful and I always advocate for it because it's like this is the place where you don't feel like you're just a number. You don't feel like there's a lot of groups out there, right? And this is no shade, but there's a lot of groups out there and they're run by like influencers who maybe get paid for and some of them look like me and stuff like that. Oh, but at the end of the day, I always say, you know what? I come to BariNation because I feel like you get me, you see me, right? We'll get into groups with others, and it's like you get it, you see me, and they're like, Monique, where have you been? Monique, how are you doing? And the experts, like, where else can you get that expertise? And I know we always say, like, always consult your doctor, consult your doctor. But when you
Always.
always, we always consult your doctor. But when you have experts in the nation that are there for you and available to you, and there's recordings, and so I'm like, dude, it's all here. It's here. I just need to lean into it. So no, it's not going to be an everyday. Maybe I'm at every meeting. I'm not at every group. And I think sometimes people feel like I got to do it all or nothing.
Oh,
No,
thank
no.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. No,
No,
no, yep.
you take it as you need it. You take what you need. Take what you need.
Yes. Take what you need. It was one of our biggest drivers for becoming a nonprofit organization. We are not influencers. We are not here to sell you anything, to convince you of anything. We are not here to promote anything. We do want to be influential in helping more people access and utilize treatment for a disease that is running rampant in our nation and in the world and in our lives.
Right.
That's it. We are not here to make a profit. We are not here to do any of those things. We are grounded in our mission, which is the elimination of barriers so more people can embrace their life
Yep.
fully as we have done ours. And as an organization, Monique, what we deeply appreciate about you, and I've told you this many times, and you guys, I'm telling you, she is one of the most skilled hosts of an online space I have ever seen in my life. I go to Monique's meetups or to her classes to learn from her, but really, I'm learning how she's doing it because she's an absolute master at it. She is chef's kiss.
Thank
3
you.
Michelin stars,
Uh,
all the things. Absolutely skilled. But what I see you doing, and because of this conversation and your willingness to have it, thank you. I'm seeing how you are showing people in the Black and Brown community that you do not have to give up your identity. You do
mhm.
not have to give up your culture
Yep.
when you make the decision to onboard treatment for the thing that you know is ruining people's lives.
Yeah.
You are really being that role model. You're being that beacon of hope to say, I am grounded in my culture, in my tradition, in my ethnicity. I have not given up who I am. And
Yep.
in fact, I've been able to embrace more of it. It looks different and it seems a little bit different, but at the core, no, I am who I am.
Yep.
And that is, I think, something that people have not seen. And that is a very fresh perspective that you're offering. And as you and I were talking before we hit record on this, you are saying these things. We are saying these things. So,
Mhm.
and I get why people say nobody's talking about it. Well, we're talking about it, but our
Yep.
message isn't being amplified. Our
Yep.
message isn't being shared. And there's only so much that you can do organically.
Yep.
And when you combine your message, your story, your advocacy with the financial support that this foundation is going to grow to be able to do, there will come a time where nobody is going to say, "Oh, I didn't hear this. I didn't know this." No, you knew it because it was front and center. It was there for you when you were looking at it. And that's what this is about. We don't want
Yeah.
anybody to walk this journey alone. You don't have to. The education is here. The opportunity is here. And the opportunity to do these things with people who look like you also should be there.
Yeah.
That is important. Representation matters.
Oh yes. Oh yes. 100%. If the Super Bowl alone didn't didn't prove that to us, right?
Oh,
If it didn't prove it to us, like representation matters. And that's why I'm so thankful that you were like, yes, let's have this conversation because it was laying on my heart to have. And, I teach fitness to a lot of older ladies, and I'm including myself, right? Because I'm over 40, as my daughter says, well, you're not a spring chicken. If it begins with 19, okay, fine. Fine, fine, fine. Right, fine. But I'm like, I'm gonna be authentic. I'm gonna say that, you know what? No, I cannot hop around and booty pop and twerk like I used to. No, my knees say no. But
yeah.
I'm gonna do it. My knees say no. What I am gonna do is do what I can do. And I'm gonna lean in to what I know that I need to do, whether that's strength training, whether that's Pilates. So it's gonna look different, just like you were saying. It's gonna look different, but I'm always gonna come at the same message. You gotta move your body. And that's what I
Yep.
really feel like BariNation is doing, right? Like the same message, like it might be a foundation, but the same message is here, right?
Yep.
We're here to provide good support and loving support. Like
Yep.
that's the one thing that I feel like I've always felt is just the love.
Well, and in March and hopefully in all of the months forward, you are hosting in the BariNation community. And you
Oh,
have put an event on our calendar twice in March. It's called the
yes.
Community Room.
Yes. I am so excited. Like, again, you want to be able to hold spaces for people that are carrying heavy things. And bariatric and GLP-1 journey is something that is heavy because when you go out and you present to the world, this is all that they see. But they don't
Mhm.
see you inside who's probably hungry. You probably haven't done all the things that you need to do. And sometimes you just need a place to go to say, do you see me? And I want to be able to hold that space, right? Like I love the struggle bus. I love all the other meetups that we have, but I'm hoping that this is going to be just another like place where people can come and they can just rest and feel okay and feel at home to talk about any and everything that they have that they're carrying.
Yep. Well, we are honored that you are back on the counter. We are thrilled that you are once again leading in our community because representation matters. And if this is somebody's first opportunity to join a space like this and to be seen and heard and to feel comfortable stepping into that space, then we want to provide it for those people. So the community room is happening twice in March. And because of generous donors, and you watching and listening could become one of these people, this opportunity is going to be free and open to the world, right? Monique will be hosting this. It is happening in BariNation, but it is open and accessible to all. It's a free event. We will link all of the information, including the description of the event, the days, the times, how you can join in the show notes. So just go ahead and click right there and join Monique.
Yes.
Join her in the community room. It is the space to just be, to be
Yes.
seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged,
Yep.
and to not be shamed and blamed about a disease that you had no control over.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-mm.
Come.
And not happening.
Come.
Yep. And if you are listening and watching this episode, you can support the efforts of the foundation. No gift is too small. And every dollar that we raise goes to our 501c3, federally recognized. It becomes tax deductible. And the great thing about a foundation is we have to be transparent with how those funds are spent. So you as a donor are going to see how the donation is being spent, how that money is being spent, and the impact that it has. So if you think that $5 doesn't make a big difference, friends, I'm telling you it does. You can be one of the people that is helping amplify this message to all of the spaces that it needs to go. We will have that link down in these show notes, and we invite you to become a donor of the foundation. Monique, what is one thing we've talked about a lot here, and you will be joining us again on this podcast because we are going to continue to talk about how race is a barrier. What is something that you want people to really leave this conversation with, or is there something that you want to circle back to because you just want to emphasize that point?
The one thing that I want to leave with people is that you got to continue to share your story, right? Again, good, bad, or indifferent, because that's the way that we grow our community. And if your story is that I don't know, then you need to plug in because the resources, they're here. People don't know about them, but they are here. So that's always the one that I keep saying, share your story and advocate for yourself. Don't ever let
Yeah.
anybody make you feel like you do not matter because you are worthy, you are amazing, you are beautiful, and you can do this. One of the things, like honestly, if I wasn't scared of needle, I would get a tattoo that said, "You got this." I'm scared of needles. I don't know.
That's literally
Right. Yeah. You can do like, dude, like I have to it's just something that I think sometimes we forget. We forget that. So if you don't take anything else from this conversation, just know as you fight the disease of obesity, you can do this.
you can. And I'm going to amplify something that you said earlier. Knowing your story, sharing your story starts with you.
Yeah.
Monique, one of the very first things you said is that you have to spend time with you. You have to get to know yourself and your story. You need to be grounded in that.
Yeah.
And when I hear you say share your story, start with yourself. You might not be ready to share it with the world, with friends or family. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you can share your story with yourself. And that's how you grow in your understanding that you really do got this. You
Yep.
really do. And that's how all this happens. That's how the change happens. The advocacy happens. It starts with you.
Yep. Yes, it does.
Oh, Monique, thank you for this amazing conversation. Thank you for taking the time to educate us all, to share your story, and for allowing us to amplify it on the BariNation Foundation platform. That means the world to us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so thrilled to be a part of the BariNation team and crew, and even just to be a patient inside of BariNation. I'm thankful for that. So thank you.
Yeah, I am too. We are building together what you and I both need as people and patience.
Yep.
And we're in the position where we also get to lead it. And that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, friends. All the things that we talked about will be linked in the show notes. Absolutely check them out. Consider donating to the BariNation Foundation to help us amplify this message. And we hope that we will see you in the nation soon. Bye, friends.
That wraps up another empowering episode of the BariNation Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, keep the conversation going by joining the BariNation membership community, where you can attend live support events, access on-demand resources, and find a caring community.
Join us at barination.mn.co. If you found this podcast valuable, help us produce it by becoming a $5 monthly supporter at BariNationPodcast.com.
And just remember, at the end of the day, you've got this, we've got you, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.